Breaking news! A new episode of Let's Be Frank starting now!
So Frank, what is your video about today?
Today is finally the day we do the mall tier list.
No one's gonna watch that, Frank.
Hello all. Today I've got something real special planned for you guys. I've wanted to do this for a little while now. Today I am going to do a mall tier list. My girlfriend, Katrina, and I, we go to shopping malls all the time, all around the Central Florida area, and we've been to so many, I think it's about time I rank them all. So I'm going to go ahead and get started right away. First up, we have the Florida Mall in Orange County. This mall is so beautiful. It's big and has so many different unique stores and places to visit, like the Crayola Experience, which is why I went there in the first place, period. Or the M&M's World store, which if I spend too long in that store, I'd probably gain another 10 pounds. Katrina and I have returned to that mall so many times, and it would be S tier if only it was a little bit closer. But because it's a decent drive to get there, I'm gonna go ahead and put this mall in A tier. Next up on our list, I'm going to talk about Melbourne Square. This mall is, as the name suggests, in Melbourne, and it definitely wasn't a bad mall. It was rather lackluster, however. It didn't really have anything that made it super memorable. It was a decent mall, don't get me wrong. It had a few good stores. There was a little doggy adoption store, for example. That was fun. But besides that, it wasn't really a standout place. So for that, I am going to put this mall in C tier. You already started? I did not say I was ready. Okay, and we're going to move on now to the Orlando Fashion Square. Again, obvious where it is, Orlando. This is a very nice mall. It seemed a bit dead when Katrina and I were there, but granted, we did go later at night, so I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it'd be a much busier mall during the day. But all in all, it was nice. There was nothing wrong with it, and I think it's it's one step above Melbourne, which I just covered. So I'm probably going to end up putting Orlando Fashion Square in the B tier. Hi, and next up we have the Altamont Mall. Of course, obviously, in Altamont. And let me tell you, now this is a mall. I have the most fond memories of this one in particular because of how often Katrina and I have wanted to go back. No mall has drawn us back in as many times as this one. It has all of our favorite stores like Barnes & Noble, FYE, Hot Topic, GameStop, and a lot more than just that. It is a must visit for anybody who is interested in shopping malls, and that is why I'm putting it in S tier. Alright, moving on, we got Oviedo Mall, located in Oviedo, obviously. Now, this is a mall that Katrina and I visited really early on in our escapades to visit all the malls that we could. It's a fun little mall. It's smaller, doesn't have a whole lot in it. It does have a little movie theater. But besides that, I really just like it so much because of the aesthetic of it. The very front of it has these colored glass windows, and it's this long semicircle type of mall. It's nice. It's nice. It's got a unique feel to it, and because of that, it's going to land squarely in B tier. And from there, that takes us to Sears Town Mall, located in Edgewater, somewhere around Edgewater. And this was a very disappointing mall, if I'm gonna be honest here. Little to no interesting stores. It was pretty dead, even though we were there during the day. And there just wasn't much in the area of appealing architecture. I don't have much else to say about it. It was just too bare bones for my taste. Don't really plan on going back, so I'm putting this in E tier, one of the lowest tiers yet. This moves us on over next to International Plaza, located in Tampa, a little bit of a drive. Talk about a beautiful mall. Not only was this mall super upscale, but it had a Tesla store in it. Katrina and I, we had so much fun in there. We probably spent close to an hour in that store alone, just sitting in all these hyper-futuristic cars, pretending like we were gonna buy one. It was a lot of fun. That store alone ranks this mall super high. The mall, it wasn't super close to home, like I said, though. But I'd love to go back someday. It's at the top of my list to return to, and because of that, I am going to put this mall in S tier, even though it is a decent drive away. Alright, next we're going to be talking about the Avenue. It's located in Jacksonville. This mall is far from home. Like, it's a drive. It's a half hour out from Georgia, actually, so it takes quite a bit of time to get there. But besides that major handicap, it's a stunning mall. Unique stores, appealing architecture, and a huge food court. I'm gonna go back someday, even if it's gonna take a while. If only it was a little bit closer, I would be okay with putting this in S tier. But because it's super far, it's gonna be in an A tier mall. Moving on next, we've got the Colonial Plaza, located in Orlando as well. This, it wasn't really a mall, if I'm being honest. I got bamboozled, I tell you what. This was more of a series of stores all under one name, kind of like the Pavilion. If anybody lives in the Port Orange, Daytona area, they know what I'm talking about. Besides a Petco and a Starbucks and admittedly really nice Barnes & Noble, the other surrounding stores weren't very interesting. It wasn't much to look at, kind of boring, so I'm putting this squarely in the D tier. And now we're going to be moving on to Paddock Mall. This is a mall that, it was nice. It was a good mall. It was kind of generic. Nothing bad about it. Nothing superb about it. It was your typical, regular old mall that everybody thinks of when a mall comes into their head. Again, good mall, nothing bad about it. It was right in the middle. Slightly above average, I'll say. So that's why it's going to be right in the B tier. Next up, we have got West Oaks Mall, located in Ocoee. It had a carousel. It had a carousel. Besides that, I failed to really remember much about it. If it weren't for the pictures, I doubt I'd remember this mall at all. It was nice, nothing was really bad per se. It just wasn't a standout mall. I'd visit it again, I don't know if it was in the area already, but I wouldn't go out of my way to return to it. Unlike the last mall, it's not average in a good way, it's average in a bad way. So this mall does earn C tier. Coming up next, we have the Mall of Millenia, located in Orlando. This is a super upscale mall, not meant for common folk like me, let me tell you. However, despite there being only one store that Katrina and I were actually interested in going to, which was a GameStop, this mall is still deserving of the S tier, specifically because of its design and architecture alone. There is not a more beautiful mall on this list, and the stunning architecture and overall look of this very fancy mall is enough for it to make it worthy of S tier. So even if the stores are too expensive for Katrina and I to go back to, this mall will forever be S tier. Coming up next, we have the St. Augustin Outlets, located in none other than St. Augustine. Now, here's the deal. I decided not to count outlet malls on this list because Katrina and I tend to avoid them in our searches for malls. But since this mall is half indoor and half outdoor, I decided to include it. Besides some admittedly aesthetically pleasing architecture and design work, the lack of interesting stores and the fact that it is mostly outdoors, it just makes it kind of boring and to walk around, and there's just not much to do. We were in and out in under an hour, honestly. Not much more to say about it, so C tier. Next up, I'm bringing you guys the Seminole Town Center, located in Seminole County. Now, besides our local Daytona Mall and a couple others, nope, I don't want to say a couple others, screw it. We're restarting. His take is dead.
Is it?
Now, besides our local Daytona Mall, this is the mall that's closest to our home. The Seminole Town Center is a very nice mall. It's got 2 stories to it, something only the best malls on this list have. And the stores and the food court are just above average. They are incredibly good. This is also the mall that got Katrina and I personally hooked on those $1 for 3 minutes massage chairs. Also, there's an anime store in this mall that Kyle, Aaron, and I visited. that they did not want to go into. I did. Regretted going in. Despite the very odd anime store though, this is still an A-tier mall. Very good, go visit it. Alright, next up, Sunshine Plaza in South Daytona. Horrible. Horrible! This mall is literally just a bike ride away from my house, and I couldn't be more disappointed about that fact. The only plus side to this mall is that there's a post office and a Publix right in the same space as it. The mall is empty and ugly and pitiful. And that's all I have to say about that. F tier, worst mall, horrible. Finally, the mall I was most excited to talk about, the Volusia Mall, located in Daytona Beach. Best mall, 10 out of 10, would go again and again and again. I tell you guys what, this is my all-time favorite mall, but I will admit, it is 100% tied to nostalgia. I mean, what can I say? I did grow up going to this mall after all. I've been to this mall countless times, and I love it just as much as the last time I went. Every single time I go is just as fun as the last. It's got all the best stores, like I mentioned earlier, the FYE, GameStop, Hot Topic. It has the H&M, the Crutch, that's in every single mall you'll go to. It's got everything. This mall will always be my favorite, and nothing will ever overtake it because of my nostalgia. And that's just a fact of it. Even without the nostalgia bias, though, I could still rank this mall in A or B tier, but because of how close it is to my heart, I am placing this mall in S tier. Best mall! And that's that. That is my mall tier list. I've been to plenty more malls outside of the state too, and maybe I'll talk about those one day in the future. But I wanted to do something a little bit closer to home for this video. Let me know if you like this video by leaving a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until next time. I yawned, I'm sorry. What are we doing?